Let's start with an uncomfortable question. When's the last time you lied? Not murdered someone and hid the body, lied. I mean the small stuff. Told a friend their haircut looks great when it does not. Said, "I'm on my way," while you were still standing in your bathrobe. Told your boss you were dealing with a family thing when the family thing was actually a Netflix thing. If you're sitting there thinking, "I don't really lie, I'm a pretty honest person," I've got some bad news for you. You're either lying right now or you're about to. Here's the part that should genuinely unsettle you. A psychologist at a major university ran an experiment where he had over 200 strangers pair up and just talk. 10 minutes, casual conversation, nothing high stakes. Then he showed each person the recording of their own conversation and asked them to point out anywhere they'd lied. Almost everyone had lied at least once. On average, people lied 2 to 3 times in 10 minutes of completely ordinary small talk. Not big, dramatic lies, tiny ones, exaggerations, little white lies, convenient omissions. In 10 minutes. So if you've spent your whole life thinking of yourself as an honest person who just occasionally slips up, I'd like to gently suggest that the slipping up is the behavior. And it's happening constantly to basically everyone, including you. Now, before you spiral into an identity crisis about your own moral character, let's slow down, because here's the good news. This isn't actually the horrifying character flaw it sounds like. Lying isn't some corrupted glitch in human behavior. It's one of the oldest, most useful tools our species ever developed. And understanding why can genuinely change how you see yourself and everyone around you. Let's go back a very long way. Somewhere in our evolutionary past, our ancestors figured out something critical. Surviving completely alone, out in a world full of predators and rival tribes and general chaos, was basically impossible. You needed a group. And the second you need a group, you need social maneuvering. Managing reputations, softening conflicts, protecting relationships. Occasionally telling someone their mammoth hunting technique was definitely fine, instead of the reason we almost died. Lying in small doses became one of the tools that kept the social fabric from ripping apart. And it turns out this shows up in the brain in a measurable way. Researchers scanned the brains of people with a documented pattern of frequent, skilled lying and compared them to average brains. The liars had significantly more neural connections in specific regions, something like 22% more. Why? Because convincingly managing a lie takes real cognitive work. You have to track the false version of events, suppress your actual emotional reaction, and keep your story internally consistent, all in real time. That takes horsepower. Skilled deception isn't a moral failing so much as a genuinely demanding mental task. Kids, interestingly, start lying around age 3. And here's the twist that flips the usual parenting anxiety on its head. The earlier a child starts lying, the more it tends to correlate with higher cognitive ability. Lying that early requires understanding that other people have a different perspective than you do, and being able to manipulate that gap. It's not a red flag. It's basically a developmental milestone wearing a disguise. Even animals do something like this, just without the intent behind it. A chameleon doesn't consciously decide to deceive a predator by changing color. The ones that happened to blend in survived, the ones that didn't got eaten, and evolution did the rest. Your cat staring at you with tragic, starving eyes exactly 5 minutes after being fed isn't running some elaborate manipulation campaign. It just remembers that sad eyes reliably produced snacks before, so it's trying the same move again. So here's where we land on the ethics of all this. Not all lying is the same, and treating any lie ever as equally bad is honestly a little naive. There's white lies, which soften things without actually hurting anyone. Telling a kid a comforting story instead of a harsh truth. Telling a grieving friend what they need to hear in the moment instead of a brutally clinical assessment. There's exaggeration, which makes a story more entertaining or an achievement sound more impressive, usually harmless. There's omission, just not mentioning something, which is still technically a form of lying, even though it doesn't always feel like one. And then there's the more serious stuff. Lying out of fear. Lying to manipulate someone. Or, in extreme cases, a compulsive pattern of dishonesty that isn't really under someone's control anymore. The point isn't, lying is fine, go wild. The point is that pretending you're a perfectly honest person who never bends the truth is, itself, usually a lie. And once you accept that everyone's operating with some amount of social flexibility around the truth, you get way better at spotting when someone's using it against you instead of just using it to be polite. Which brings us to the actually useful part. How do you tell when someone's lying to your face, especially in a situation where it actually matters? A negotiation, a business deal, a partner who's being weirdly evasive about something. Here's the myth you need to drop first. There is no reliable universal tell. You've probably absorbed some version of liars won't make eye contact, or liars touch their face, or liars look up and to the left. None of that holds up under real scrutiny. Someone avoiding eye contact might just be anxious, awkward, or neurodivergent. An asymmetrical smile might not mean deception. It might mean you should call an ambulance. Treating any single gesture as a lie detector is a great way to falsely accuse an innocent, nervous person while missing the actual liar sitting calmly across the table. What does matter is deviation from someone's normal baseline. If someone's never fidgeted with their hands before and suddenly can't stop, if their vocal pitch shifts in a way that's unusual for them specifically, that's worth noticing, not because it's automatically deception, but because something changed, and you should pay attention to why. More useful than body language, honestly, is watching for manipulation patterns, because lying and manipulation tend to travel together, especially in negotiations or high-stakes conversations. Red flag 1. The manufactured emergency. Someone insists you need to decide right now. No time to think it over. Sign today or the deal disappears forever. Genuine opportunities rarely require you to abandon your judgment on a deadline someone else invented. If you're not allowed to slow down and think, that's usually the moment you most need to. Red flag 2. Emotional pressure replacing actual arguments. When someone leans hard on how you'll feel, guilt, fear, excitement, instead of giving you real information to evaluate, that's often because the real information doesn't hold up on its own. Red flag 3. False binaries. Either you help me right now or everything falls apart completely. Presenting only two options, one reasonable sounding and one catastrophic, when reality almost always has more paths than that. It's a pressure tactic dressed up as logic. Red flag 4. Shifting the burden of proof onto you. If someone makes a wild claim and then demands you disprove it instead of backing it up themselves, that's a huge tell. Prove I'm wrong is not the same as, here's my evidence. The person making the claim owns the burden of proving it. If they're trying to hand that job to you instead, treat it as a warning sign. Once you can spot these red flags, you stop being the person reacting to manipulation after the fact and start being the person who catches it happening in real time. A few practical moves help here too. Staying warm and non-confrontational tends to make dishonest people relax and over-explain, which is when inconsistencies slip out. Letting small contradictions sit, instead of correcting them immediately, often causes someone to trip over their own story later. And dropping an unexpected, unrelated question into the middle of a conversation can rattle someone who's been running a rehearsed script, because suddenly they have to improvise. Silence works in your favor too. Most people are deeply uncomfortable with a pause and will rush to fill it, sometimes with exactly the detail they were trying to avoid mentioning. Now, since we've established that literally everyone lies constantly, including you, let's talk honestly about the mechanics of it. Not so you can go run a con, but because understanding how convincing lies actually work makes you dramatically better at spotting them, and also just more self-aware about your own behavior. The most convincing lies aren't wild improvisations. They're built on real memories and real emotional detail, because our brains are genuinely bad at distinguishing a well-constructed mental image from an actual memory. The lies that hold up best also tend to be mostly true, with just one piece altered. Sticking close to real facts makes a story dramatically harder to unravel than something invented from scratch. And counterintuitively, shorter lies with fewer extra details tend to be more convincing, not less. Every unnecessary detail is one more thing that can contradict itself later. But here's the actual takeaway, and it matters more than any of the mechanics. The real danger isn't lying itself, it's overusing it. The old fable about the boy who cried wolf exists for a reason. Once people catch you lying too often, or catch you being needlessly, bluntly harsh with the truth constantly, they stop trusting anything you say, in either direction. Total, aggressive honesty all the time tends to make you exhausting to be around. Constant, unnecessary lying makes you unreliable the moment it's discovered. The actual skill isn't never lie or always lie strategically. It's understanding which kind of moment you're in and choosing honesty or a gentle white lie deliberately, instead of defaulting to either one out of habit or fear. So the next time you catch yourself softening a truth to protect someone's feelings, or telling your kid a comforting story instead of a harsh reality, you can drop the guilt about it. That's not some character defect. That's a few million years of social evolution doing exactly what it was built to do. Just make sure you know the difference between the lie that protects someone and the lie that's protecting you at someone else's expense. That distinction is the entire game.